Hello and welcome, my Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Welcome to your Timeless Path of True Love read. I am your reader, Mark Angelo Lyons, Mal for short. Professional witch, professional intuitive, president of Drawing the Circle Productions since 1998, son of a Cancerian, mother, the Archangel of Lyons, Mark Angelo Lyons, but you can call me Mal. Hey, my crab cakes. Hope you are all well. Happy to be doing these Path of True Love reads, a basic Celtic Cross with a bunch of other cards thrown in, showing you where you are on the hero's journey path to true love. As a matter of fact, I recorded a video, a preface to these reads, the Timeless True Love reads, explaining what true love is, path to true love is, according to my own definitions, my own experience, research, stuff I've been taught, stuff that I've taught, and with a bunch of lovely links going deeper into the subject. But you might want to check out the the preface, if that's your preference, before diving into this, if you are new to these reads. Otherwise, but let's get on with it, shall we? As I said, we're going to be doing a basic Celtic Cross using 2 decks of tarot, 10 and then 10 on top of it to clarify, with some Caroline Myss archetype cards to get us kicked off, get us started, and then we will get an oracle and a healing mantra card at the end. That being said, it's a general read. You know the rest of that as well. All the decks that I read are always in the bottom of the description box, and along with a video down there explaining how to book a reading with me and what getting a reading with me is like. I had a lot of fun recording that one. So if you want to book me for a private personal read, easy enough to do. Watch the vid, links in the description box, and check out my book, Words of Grace, $9.99 on Kindle. I think you'll like it. That being said, both feet on the floor if you can. Focus on your breath, if you will. I will do the same to get you the clarity, guidance, and grace that I can get you from my Pantheons of the Divine GPS point of view, Celtic Cross spread, of where you are on the path of true love. Please take a nice deep breath. And we'll take this one nice and easy, shall we? Because the energy feels nice and easy. Keep in mind, these may not be all romantic sexual, although a bunch of them so far have been, this being number 4 of the series, but only you are going to know that for sure, unless there are some obvious cards poking at you, right? Showing you what this is about. Otherwise, here we go. I call upon my collective pantheons of angels, archangels, goddesses, gods, ascended masters of true love, and the higher selves of all involved in this Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign path of true love reading here. First, 8th chakra. Give us the 8th chakra dynamic. What is the archetype going on for the Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, who will be the subject of this reading in the cover position, though may flip-flop, cross-watchers, all that. Who should say what is the dominant archetype in the 8th chakra of the person crossing their path on the true love? They will be the cross. We'll have the cover and the cross, the Cancerian, and whoever is on their path, though they're going to have to figure out who is who on that, and they should know relatively soon who's crossing their path on the path of true love. Let's see. These are already in the description. These are already in the title, I should say. So let's see how brave you actually are. Lovely. You've got the Guide. This would represent you if you're the Cancer on this side. And the Hermit. The Guide, definitely a Divine Family archetype. And the Hermit, one of my favorites, a Wisdom Family archetype. And I'm saying, has these come up before? No. Just wanted to check. So let's dive into this Cancerian thought. I did a reading today for a Cancerian, and she got this as her dominant archetype, and you saw me shuffle them. I shuffle them even before I say hello, 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 and welcome. The shadow and the light being dealt with here, the shadow attribute of the Guide, places financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight. It's pretty toxic. It's pretty horrible. Oh yeah, I'll tell you how to heal yourself for a price, right? I'll tell you what you need to know. I mean, like charging $3,000 for a 5-minute reading, right? It's like, that's stupid. It's not going to work for me. I can't operate that way. My guides, my gods, they would pull back on me so fast my third eye would spin. The light attribute represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself, the interconnectivity of it all, the fifth dimensional unity consciousness, following the quantum timelines that both suit the soul as well as move you forward on the path to true love. That's lovely, and certainly the intuitive part of that for a Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign is going to be rather key. So that's what's going on in the 8th chakra up there. Person crossing your path, though, is in Hermit mode, reason, season, or lifetime. You can get the guide for a reason, season, or a lifetime as well. The shadow attribute withdraws from society out of fear or negative judgment of others, and Lord knows that's at a maximum on planet Earth right now. Refusing to help those in need, that's a little bit darker, right? Everybody can have the fear nowadays about going out and intermingling in the world, considering the state of affairs on planet Earth. I'm leaving that there. So that light attribute is going to be really key for this person, whoever this is. Seeks solitude to focus intently on inner life. Serves personal creativity. Lord knows, I'm a Virgo. I need my downtime. Not just my downtime. Everybody needs downtime. Hermit time. Phone off. No contact. Go into prayer, meditation, study, inner healing, what have you. Not to mention what I have to do, spiritual practice-wise, in between readings, between clients and doing this, and what I do every morning to get ready before I hit record, right? That's Hermit time for me. I live alone. Living with my 3 cats does not necessarily put me as anything other than a hermit, at least in my living situation. So I can relate to this one. I can relate to both. I have both of these archetypes with me pretty consistently. Seasons come and seasons go. Let's build upon this. We're going to take Daughters of the Moon Tarot. These represent the internal world, the feminine energy, if you want, the yin energy, your crown, third eye, throat, and heart, that these 8th chakra dynamics are working through, right, having influence upon. So let's see what that's about for you. And particularly with the guide, since this is such a high divine family archetype, there are 9 families, that's divine, the Hermit is wisdom. This one should probably hit crown chakra, third eye in some way. Please take a nice deep breath. All right, we'll see what's going on in the root sacrum solar plexus, as well as I call upon my goddesses of water in the sign of Cancer. Please, we need 10 cards. We're going to put them all 10 face down, then go back and flip them one at a time. Basic Celtic Cross for the Cancerian collective. That was a shift. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Watching this video, receiving this reading on the path of true love, they are represented. If this is the Cancer watching this with the guide archetype in the 8th, what's going on in the inner world for this Hermit, focusing intently on inner life, crossing their path. Okay, we got those 2. What's at the core of this? What they may not be aware of, maybe affecting both of them, but certainly at the foundation of the relationship, known or unknown. What is behind them on the path of true love? The guide only, the Cancerian only, unless it flip-flops. If you're identifying as the Hermit, this is your past then, what's behind you on that lovely, treacherous, magnificently beautiful, and sometimes terrifying path of true love. What crowns this? Hovering above this situation, they have free will to anchor it, bring it into form, manifest it, or let it walk on by. What's going on up there? But should they follow that? Should they absorb that? Should they ground that crowning moment into form? What would come of that? Everybody's got free will on the path of true love for sure. What is the lesson that the gods and the archangels and their masters and their teachers and their higher selves are trying to teach them on the path of true love right now? Yeah. From the outside looking in, how are they vibing? What do they feel like? Heart, third eye, crown, horizontal trajectory. If we were to walk up to them on the street and read their energy on the path, what is their destiny hewn from fate? Their hopes and fears, the hero's journey aspect of where they are on the path of true love to achieve their destiny rather than suffer their fate. Yeah, I mean, I don't cough a lot. I really don't. So when I cough in a reading, It kind of says that something is stuck that needs to be spit out or spoken about or communicated in some way. It's very throat chakra. So please, what is the most probable outcome of the timeline of this lifetime for the Cancerian collective? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading on the path of true love. There we go. Let's start flipping, shall we? You present with the guide archetype and the sun. Brilliant. We're looking at enlightenment here. We are looking at such an alignment of the infrastructure of the psychological world that there's actually happiness here. Light is truth. So, I mean, the sun card definitely calls things out of the shadow, right? Shines light upon them, reveals things in a sense. And I'll go with this is the happiest card in the deck. This feels like somebody who's guiding with a lit heart, right? Your heart is lit up. The peace of God is shining in me now is a lesson from A Course in Miracles. And to get that peace comes from truth, from light, and to let that shine and to let that guide you, right? Emphasizing, right? Represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself. And this is lit up. I could say that this is somebody who's experiencing, at least in heart, throat, third eye, crown dynamic, a lightness, a heaviness, a lifting of heaviness, a lightness, a dissipation of shadow and illusion. What's going on with the Hermit here? Not bad. Ten of Blades is Ten of Swords in this deck. It's an easy correlation to make, but not that betrayal. This is the rattle, the passing of the talking stick, a tribal meeting, right, where the chieftain, whatever you want to call it, holds the talking stick, the rattle, says everything that has to be said, that they get to say. Everybody else has to listen, and then it gets passed around the circle. It's a card of mental resolution. And I think for a Hermit here, this is very much a third eye thing. Completing the puzzle, putting together all the pieces, doing the math, if you will. Please don't make me do math. What's at the core of this? The storm. So I'm going to say heart, third eye, crown dynamic, if this is for both of them. The guide, the Cancerian here, has weathered this storm, is weathering this storm, and the sun, which was always there, has been revealed. An emotional detox, an emotional purification, a storm that came through and cleared the sky and watered the land, and everything is green and lush and happy. I would say that for this Hermit then, any sort of emotional turmoil that has gone on, they have put together the pieces in their mind and come to at least a mental resolution, which you would expect from a Hermit, right? To think about it, to contemplate, contemplative life there. Maybe putting together some missing pieces of their own personal psychology in this, which would lead me to think that you two know each other. I mean, Five of Cups is my heartbreak card in this deck, but it is a temporary and oftentimes caused by things that are not actually happening in the relationship, but things that are replaying or being triggered from the past. So this guide and this Hermit, I gotta say, feels like a good relationship here in that sense that both have a spiritual and an internal life. Like this would feel more like two people who are on their path, although their paths may be different. But certainly there's some emotional turmoil in there, whether or not it's heartbreak. We'll see. This may not be romantic sexual. It could be. Behind you is the Leo card, Chantico. This would be the Mother of Flames, the Queen of Wands, the Leo card, fixed fire. Chantico with her child there. She's making loaves of bread, probably cornbread, and putting it in a fixed fire situation, an oven, in order for it to be transformed. This is about creativity and good fortune. Now, when a court card hits on the heart, throat, third eye, crown, it's really more about that sign's house dynamic. Fifth house of pleasure, happiness, certainly leaning into this sun card. I mean, you've got the Leo and the sun card inside for the Cancerian here. So some creative process went on here that took some time. Fixed fire. You don't pop it in the oven, 2 minutes later take it out and it's cake. It's not even barely warm batter at that point, right? So definitely a creative process going on here, but I wonder if that creative process in some way involves this Hermit serving personal creativity. There might be a through line there, but we'll see. What's hovering here? Ooh, the Witch. Somebody is coming into alignment big time, bringing in the light of spirit. I love this card. It's called the Witch. It's the Magician. But you see the light of spirit coming down into your crown chakra, channeling it down through the wand, right down into the spoon, the stirring the cauldron of water, pentacle in the chest, fire underneath, fire, earth, air, water, spirit, all in alignment. And I would think certainly somebody is manifesting this, and whether they are manifesting this relationship deliberately or passive manifestation doesn't feel right, but that thing of, you know what, I'm just going to light up my heart and I'm just going to look inside myself and I'm going to do the healing work, and whatever needs to come to me, right, is going to come to me. In other words, it's indirect. That's the word, indirect manifestation. I'm just going to feel good and heal whatever comes up. Very Matt Kahn, whatever arises, love that. But I feel like these people are on the same page. I can't imagine them not knowing each other. I may not know who they are, but let's keep going. What's before them on the path? The shadow work of the trickster, half of the devil card. It's a feminist deck. They're not going to use patriarchal terminology. The other devil card is oppression, right? It's those chains that bind, but that you could slip off. This is facing your shadow. Coyote is a Native American a god, essentially, not just a totem, but a trickster energy. And oftentimes we are under illusions. We are under things that we absolutely believe are so true and so real about ourselves, about others, about life, about love, about, you name it. But when they are based on illusion, then usually they are connected to fear and lack of some kind. Catch this from A Course in Miracles. I love the Course. You cannot have a thought of lack without fear, or a thought of fear without lack. And if you take that in and contemplate that, you will see that you inherited a lot of fears, not just from your family, but little empathic sponges we are as little children. Everybody's everything, and we think it's ours, right? So I could see there's some emotional turbulence going on here, a storm blowing through that neither one of you may be wholly, W-H-O-L-L-Y, wholly aware of here. But certainly someone's calling in light, whether this is through prayer or direct magic, high magic, low magic, around the corner and back magic, whatever, prayer, intention work, or maybe just bringing their chakras into alignment in something very spiritually guided and healing. This certainly would bring up the shadow. In other words, just because you're not getting what you want doesn't mean you're off track. Just because you brought in all this light, all of this love, doesn't mean when your shadow starts to rise up that you've done something wrong. No, love brings up its opposite, which is fear. But what is all-encompassing can truly have no opposite. Shadow is not a thing. It is an absence of light. Fear is not a thing. It is an absence of love. Hence Matt Kahn's first book, Whatever Arises, love that, Inner or Outer. It's a great book. Check it out. Love his work. That's why we're ending with his healing mantra deck. Interesting. Just interesting. Only 3 major arcana cards, but it's essentially the Magician, the Sun, and the Devil. We're looking at some tricky stuff here, particularly the shadows that may be holding us back. More lead than gold, lead being called to be alchemized into gold, and we looked at those. The guide placing financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight. The Hermit withdrawing from society out of fear or negative judgments of others, refusing to help those in need. And I think that's global, right? Like for both of those, it's just so easy for people to put such a high price in some way, shape, or form of the guidance and grace that they have. And that's not the highest, most honorable thing, hence the shadow. Thankfully, your lesson is about the 6 of blades. The 6 of swords, the boat. The boat going from rough, choppy waters there, perhaps of the Five of Cups in the storm, to those calm, more peaceful things, mental balance. Sixes are about balance and harmony. So that's, it's interesting. I was like, oh, that felt really good, right? Like as the cards were hitting the table, that felt really good. And I think it's because it's about thinking. It is definitely something mental, that the third eye and the throat, what you've chosen to believe, bringing that into balance so that the heart opens a bit more in that process. Certainly that would speak of shadow work indicated here with the coyote woman, the trickster. Interesting, because the Six of Blades can play itself out as so many different ways. How do you come into mental balance? For some people, it's writing. For others, it's counseling or therapy or art or creativity, right? Finding that voice, finding a way to vent and bring the mind into a more level place. So left and right brain hemispheres being balanced, for example. How you vibing from the outside looking in? Well, aren't you just the hold your water Sybil? It's the Sybil card, the Ace of Blades. The Oracle of Delphi sat on a tripod with a handful of other women, huffing ethylene gas out of the wall of the temple, getting high and giving prophecies, right? The Oracle did not do personal readings. The Oracles spoke to warlords and kings, right? In ancient Greece, the Pythia. So there is definitely clear messages coming in from you. Were we to meet you this way? A lot of truth, right? That Ace of Blades receiving messages, but here we are definitely talking vertically, not horizontally. And an air backing up an air here as well. Yeah, just be careful of breathing gas out of cracks. That sounds horrible. Oh, and does your destiny, your fate where you are, it's totally the Four of Swords. I know it looks like the Two of Swords in Rider-Waite, but look, underneath her, there are two crossed swords. This card is called Deception, usually self-deception. And I'll go with the traditional Four of Swords there, about going within, balancing the mind, rest and healing. So you're bringing in new ideas, seeing things differently practically than everybody else around you, most likely, or at least that's the vibe you're putting off. So your destiny is hewn from fate, the alchemy from lead to gold here, by essentially going inside and really searching out what are the illusions, the lies, illusions, deceptions, and delusions that I have bought into. And when I say buy into, I mean we pay for them, right? We pay for our illusions, not just in some kind of punitive karma way, which I don't really believe that's how karma works. It's very Western. But that we pay with our happiness, right? Yet, true love can be delayed, but can't be prevented. You are love. The point of these readings, and I didn't actually say it in the preface because this came to me afterwards, 3 levels of power: to be loved, to love, and to be love, right? So to receive that balanced reciprocal love on the path of true love, on the lower 3 chakras, which we'll get to, right? To be loving, right? To love yourself, to whatever arises, love that, to give love into the world, heart, third eye, crown, and then that 8th chakra, to be the divine love that you truly are. Well, the only thing that stands between us and that state of being true love, unfortunately, are the lenses in which we look at life through, right? Is our perceptions, which are not always truth. The sun does not rise in the east and set in the west. It only looks that way. The planet's turning. Right? The sun isn't running around us. This isn't Terry Pratchett's Discworld. Oh, God, I wish it was. Oh, next incarnation. I don't know that I'd want to be born in Ankh-Morpork. Maybe Lanker. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you're missing out on Terry Pratchett. Sir Terry Pratchett, God rest his soul. Your last card, your outcome card. Now, you got another 5 here, the 5 of Flames. A lot of people would say it's conflict. There's another card, the 4 of Flames in this deck, literally with the word conflict on it. This is Pele, the volcano. This is an explosion that's been percolating for a long, long time. Molten magma, right? This can be Kundalini, power of fire, bursting up and through. Certainly an indicative here. You've got this Leo card, things baking. Well, cake's done, and it's a lava cake, right? Ba boom. Pele the volcano has her own mythology as a goddess, but certainly as a volcano in Hawaii. You certainly don't want to take those rocks home. I've never been, so I'm good in this life, and no one's ever given me a rock from Hawaii. But I can feel that vibe there. This is about not being able to hold back anymore. This is about something blasting up and through you. So how that plays out in the physical, I don't know, but we're going to look at that now. The Mythic Tarot will represent more of the masculine energy, the outside stuff, or at least stuff affecting the root, sacrum, solar plexus. So you got that 8th coming down through, these 4 and manifesting into the physical world. So this is either how things appear from the outside looking in at you, horizontal trajectory, or I should say, can be both. You from the inside looking out at some aspect of the physical world, or at least things affecting the lower 3 chakras, root, sacrum, solar plexus. Please take a nice deep breath. As I call upon my gods of water and the sign of Cancer, please, I'm going to need 10 cards. These we're going to flip one at a time and call them out and clarify what's going on with the Daughters of the Moon in this Celtic Cross for this Gemini collective, Cancerian collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign watching this video, receiving this Path of True Love reading. They present as the guide with the sun on the inner, and that, I have to say, feels enlightened, feels happy, feels in alignment. Well, what does that look like on the outside, please? Oh, the Knight of Cups, the Pisces card. Each knight has a different speed. The Virgo is Pentacles. It walks. This is the next speed up. Pisces, the King of Cups. It's a trot. So this feels like a happy camper. This certainly feels like somebody who's just sort of trotting along the path of true love. Now, carrying the Ace of Cups, I'll give you that. Maybe an offer of love is moving in that direction towards the Hermit, because looking at it on the table, that's the direction the Knight is traveling in towards the crossing card. So they're just kind of like coming along, and it's like they come across this Hermit. Whether or not the two of you know each other, let's see what else is going on here. What's this Hermit? Crossing their path with the 10 of Blades, the rattle, really like getting all the pieces together. It's like they integrated all, or are integrating all the pieces of the puzzle, all the pieces of information here, despite this storm at the core. What does that look like on the outer, please? Yeah, just leave it in my hand. I felt that one, but it slipped away. Felt like 2. Is that it? No, that's 2. Please, my gods. Root, sacrum, solar plexus. Come on, come on. Is that the one? That's the one. The Hermit is ready to leave. Hermitage here. We have Dionysus the Fool taking a leap of faith. Now, I have to say, that does make sense. Somebody who has been, I've been in Hermitage, are you kidding me? This past year and whatever, 6 months. And I am back out in the world. I am stepping back out and going places, doing things, taking clients face to face, as long as everybody's boundaries are healthy and clear. And if you don't know what I mean, then you just don't know what I mean. No, this is somebody who's wanting to take this leap of faith, and I feel like back out into the world, but towards you. So if I put these 2 cards next to each other, though they are not facing each other, they are both going in the same direction. Liking that a lot. Liking that a lot. It feels friendly, but with that 5 of Cups, the only way that I could maybe conceptualize these 2 not knowing each other, sharing that 5 of Cups on the inner, is that they've both been through emotional turmoil. It just feels like the guide has sort of been through it. That Sun card has appeared within them despite the 5 of Cups. The Sword, which makes for a good guide, right? You don't want to hire a guide who's, flying over on the plane for the first time like you are, right? You want somebody who knows the terrain, or at least made it through the rain, found their point of view, Oh my god, I just Barry Manilow'd myself, please. 5 of Cups. I'm not so much a fan of Low. Well, when he was Bette Midler's, you know, accompanying us, that was cool. I'm a little critical. Virgo. What does this look like on the outer, please? That 5 of Cups on the inner. What does this look like? Oh yeah, the High Priestess. This is deep. This is deep stuff. I mean, the High Priestess is, yes, about secrets, but it's about deep secret intuition, the subconscious. At work here, I would say probably for both of them, this 5 of Cups is something that they're not ready to talk about necessarily. It can be the storms they have been through. But I'm going to say with a water sign, 5 of Cups, that there is definitely, if these two have danced before, there's a risk here. There is certainly a risk. Certainly a happy Cancerian guide there with the Knight of Cups is going to be more like, all right, well, let's try. We don't got to run. We don't got to run into this. And the Hermit's like, no, I want to jump. Let's jump into this. Let's do this. But inside, perhaps even, this is Persephone underground, right? Persephone, no longer maiden of spring or summer lady. She is below ground in the underworld, holding a pomegranate. Her daisies have wilted, right? This is where she's queen of the underworld. So, believe it or not, a guide. Her symbol in the underworld is usually the torch, right? Lighting the way for the souls coming to be sorted into the different realms in the underworld. Elysian Fields, Isle of the Blessed, Tartarus. I wonder if they have their own special sauce, Tartarus there. But definitely a strong intuitive pull there, and maybe even secret knowledge. At least on the outside, they may not speak much about this. And if there has been emotional turbulence between them that they are both harboring, it feels like they're not going to be talking about it right away. Maybe enough time has passed, but there is still some residual stuff there. However, recent past connected, right? What's before this Cancerian guide with the Sun on the inner and Knight of Cups on the outer with that Leo card, that creativity, that good, good fortune, that pleasure, that enjoyment, certainly showing up in that Sun card within them. But I also get this dynamic here of a creative process in some way, shape, or form. Could be a through line for both of them. What does this look like on the outer? Page of Pentacles. Feels like a lot has gone into, it feels like a lot has gone into the Cancerian preparing themselves, sort of getting really, really clear, fixed fire, very, very clear about what it is that they want, preparing a Page of Pentacles, a physical opportunity or offer. Now, I will say with that One of Blades over here from the outside vibing in, that could certainly be carrying a truth, a new way of looking at this, a new idea or inspiration that started in the creating of a new opportunity. Now, I do not personally, as a reader, assign zodiac to pages. They are messengers. The knights are the mutable signs, the queens are the fixed signs, the kings are the cardinal. Just how I learned it. Juliet Sharman Burke, author and creator of the Mythic Tarot, taught me that when I was like in my 20s, right? Great book. The workbook is wonderful. So we are looking at some kind of creative endeavor here, something with potential, but immature, not in the sense of childish or brattiness, but that's something like an acorn that would eventually become, if tended and cared for, an oak tree, which would shed billions of acorns in its life cycle. Creative potential here, definitely. And by the way, that Leo card, Shantico, can certainly show up as that creative explosion in Pele at the end. So I'm not really seeing any other fire inside, right? Except really what's before you, what's behind you on the path, and most probable outcome. Let's look at that witch in the crown there, right? Channeling something down very akin to the Ace of Blades here, the Sybil. Hold your water, Sybil. What's going on there? Hold your ethylene gas, Sybil. With that witch card crowning. What does that look like on the outer? Please. Nope, that's 2. Please leave that in my hand. Oh, there we go. 2 of Cups. Now we know. There it is. There it is. Two of Cups, emotional attraction. You don't know each other yet, or what's going on with each other. You see, again, they are both facing the same direction. She's not looking at him. That is Psyche. That is Eros behind her, son of Aphrodite. Definitely a strong emotional bond here. We're going to go with the romance on this. But now I'm looking at that card of delusion and that card of the trickster there. I have to wonder if what is being incarnated here is something that's being kept on the sly or kept on the sneaky. If not, maybe they're not seeing this the same way. And I think that's the fear. Is this friendship? Is this lovers? One might think it's friendship, the other might think it's lovers. There's emotional turmoil, a storm passing here, maybe some uncertainty because of lies, illusions, deceptions, and delusions that have happened in relationships prior if they're just meeting, or maybe in this relationship. But a guide and a hermit, they could find their way through this together. So what's that shadow work, the coyote, before the Cancerian here on the path? This shadow work, they're really going in and seeing what's in the control panel, right? What's in the underlying program, the virus in the program, the shadow, the fear that needs to be embraced and alchemized here on the path of true love. Ace of Cups. See, when you go from the Two of Cups in the crown to the Ace of Cups, it's not a step backwards. This is really saying that I am afraid, I have fears about offering this cup of love. And I'm going to say that that's the Cancerian. But the fears are about deceiving or being deceived. I would say that if this is a friendship where two people have not seen each other for a while, just because the Hermit is there, might not have been in communication, then there is trepidation about coming together here. Are we friends? Are we lovers? Maybe they've never kissed, but one of them wants to and the other one doesn't want to. It's all sorts of drama there. But I think we got the Two of Cups and the Ace of Cups, literally Aphrodite, sweet and flighty, not even wearing a see-through nightie, with the Devil card essentially there, that there is some serious shadows and fears here, probably about abuse, neglect, codependence, and loss, because those are the four ego wounds, the things that we really don't even realize we are afraid of. So it does feel like there's some emotional drama brought from both of these people when they cross paths here on the path of true love. But whether they know each other or not, that's a general read for you. You want a private read? Tell me this is the reading, the guide and the hermit. And we'll start off there, and we'll build a whole other spread on top of this, maybe a chakra spread for both. Six of Blades is their lesson here, so yeah, bringing the mind into balance. Not seeing a predominance of air cards previous, only, well, there we go. We've got the One of Blades and the Four of Blades in their staff. It's a lot of air here in the universal arc, but not seeing it so much there in the cross itself. So what is the Six of Blades? This coming into mental balance. That's what the universe is trying to teach them here on the path of true love. What's that look like? Page of Cups, self-reflection. So your lesson really is to reflect on yourself, to give yourself that cup of love. This is Narcissus from the Greek myth of Narcissus. It's where we get the word narcissist from, but what's so ironic is narcissists can't see themselves doing what they're doing. No, this is about really self-reflection, drinking your own cup of love. And we see this Ace of Cups repeated now in the cover card, Knight of Cups, in the Ace of Cups there, in what's before the Cancerian on the path, and here in their lesson. I'm going to say that your happiness is always your own. Happiness is a decision I must make. Another line from A Course in Miracles. That you decide to be happy and you keep yourself in alignment, sure, that can bring in somebody to play with, somebody to take that lesson deeper or further. But there's some underlying pain here for both of them that I still can't tell if they know each other or not. But I will say there is the romantic perfume, vibrational perfume in the air here. And with that Page of Cups, to maybe keep to themselves and continue to see this differently. Now, it's just interesting. I'm doing the Miracles, Course in Miracles workbook again. The one that I got today is All Things Are Lessons God Would Have Me Learn. But then later in the lesson, they say to repeat to yourself when affronted with anything, confronted with anything, I will forgive and see this differently. Now, what we think is I'll see it differently and then I'll forgive. Like, give me all the facts, all the deets, all the details, right? Show me the receipts and then I'll forgive. It doesn't work that way. You are willing to forgive to set yourself free, to return to the innocence of the soul, true vision, rather than the perception of what you might think and feel is going on, to get that we are all immortal, eternal souls, ultimately all one. You forgive for that basis because it's only what happened down here. You know, in the higher dimensions. This is a movie we're watching, right? So from the outside looking in there with that One of Blades, there's definitely a reception, maybe of prophecy, maybe of truth, maybe of vision. But what does this look like from the outside looking in? Four of Wands. Four of Wands. This certainly looks like a stabilization of fire. Interesting that we end with the Five of Flames on the inner here, that's in the outcome card. This is certainly setting up camp, right? Getting it together, stabilizing things before going into the 5, the challenge, the change here. So there is a stabilization here. Like, this feels like somebody that if I were to meet them, I would say, yeah, they've really kind of got what they want, at least the basics of it. They've got some creative tools, inner and outer, to work with, but man, they're bringing through some real clarity and truth. So a stabilization here. I mean, it's not pentacles, but it is wands. And I know people will call it the engagement card or the wedding card or the shacking up card, whatever, but it's certainly a stabilization of desire. That's lovely. I feel like the Cancerian here kind of has their shit together. You know, they're storms, right? It's not summer on Long Island without lots of storms, right? So, you know, to clear the air. But with the High Priestess, I don't know that they're going to be clearing this air together. I feel like they're clearing it individually here, that High Priestess and the storm at the bottom. Well, the hero's journey aspect, the fate alchemized into destiny, heart, throat, third eye, crown dynamic. The Four of Swords, deception. I know it looks like the Two of Swords from the Rider-Waite deck, but that's why she made it the 4 and hid the 2, because there is a deception. Now, this could be self-deception, and that's what I'm concerned about with that 2 of Cups in the crown here. Does somebody have a crush? Crushes will crush you, but they will heal you if you follow through with the healing work. That is my only concern so far. It does feel like in that outcome, though, something's going to come to the surface rather fiery. Like, maybe you think you're just friends, but there is another element in there. I wonder if it's deliberate deception or just self-deception. No, we could never. I doubt they think that way. They feel that way, right? Meanwhile, both of you are just boiling like the storm on the inside. So what does that Four of Blades look like on the outer in the Destiny position? 10 of Swords. Now we've got a double whammy here with the 10 of Blades for the Hermit on the inner. So unless you're the Hermit, that's what that's referring to here. But on the outer, this is not about betrayal. I'm tired of hearing it's about being stabbed in the back. No. Not in this case. This is certainly putting together the pieces, getting all of the mental. So what I feel like is that an external completion, a whole picture is going to be seen mentally. Very, very third eye. It could have come from overthinking from the 9 of Swords, absolutely, to bring you to the realization of the 10, at least in the element of air, illuminating what the lies, illusions, deceptions, and delusions. Now, I don't know that these two have lied to each other. I just think there has probably been a separation between the two of them with that Hermit archetype at work here. And the guides sort of finding their way through the world and back into the world. I think the Fool with that Hermit wants to jump in, but there's a lot that they don't know about each other. And so a lot of, I don't like using these words, but a lot of stories that have gone on in the head that might be cultural, that might be just about this past year and a half or so, or maybe the past 4 years, or, you know, a lot of psychology going on here. Which is why I think the lesson here really is about internal reflection and balancing that, manipulating the mind, really sorting through what is true here, what is not, you know, what am I telling, what are the shadows that I need to bring to light. When you bring light into your shadow, it's when we start rationalizing and giving reasons why we feel the way, or we're afraid of, well, because in a past life, you know, this happened, that happened. Maybe that's true. But then you remove the light, the shadow is still there. It's about bringing your shadows into light, not bringing light into your shadows. Does that make sense? Right? Because the moment you look away, that's like understanding, oh, well, when I was a child, blah, 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 blah happened. And granted, that might have happened. But does that heal anything? Just having that mental understanding, but certainly having a mental grasp on this, particularly if you're bringing through clarity here in your stability of that Four of Wands on the outer, that could be it. Really getting, oh, and then the sun dawns, right? Then the sun starts to shine on the horizon. Clarity dawns. All right, that last card there, 10th position, the outcome, we got Pele, and honestly, I don't get a horrible feeling about that. I get a worse feeling about this Five of Cups than I do about that Five of Flames Pele. Please, what does that look like? Most probable outcome, this timeline of this lifetime, Wheel of Fortune, the Fates. The Fates, that's something, it is time for it to come up and out. If there is tension between these two, it is going to be verbalized. Maybe not right yet, right? This is your outcome. But certainly this clarity that comes in the Fate and Destiny position 9, is indicated that it manifests. This could be a lot of passion being held back, right? Both of them in this Four of Wands, and then together, eruption. Definitely an eruption, if not an erection, an eruption. And the turning of the wheel, right? A divine timing thing. I really feel like these two know each other. I really feel like there's maybe been some casual, friendly flirtation here and there. Unless they full-on danced together before. But with that Two of Cups and the Magician in the Crown, like, I feel like both of them are like, I would really like to see where this goes. But the risk may be huge. And there's a lot of fear about it, right? With that Coyote on the inner and that Ace of Cups on the outer. Although someone's going to deliver it. And it feels like the Cancerian guide is going to the Hermit. Just feels that way. And they're both heading in the same direction. I just wonder what's gone on between the two of them before, or what they've been through with the Ten of Blades. As they start communicating with each other, they're going to say, oh my God, I went through that same thing 2 years ago, right? And then things move on. There is certainly that Pele moment. It can be an expression of passion. Like, every tarot card is neutral. It's a scale of shadow to light, from horrible to magnificent, right? So to feel that one out in a general read certainly is tricky. But you enter with a Major Arcana card, a divine timing card for sure, the Wheel of Fortune, that this is a possible season of really purifying this stuff out, of getting it all up off your chest. I did have that coughing vibe before. Well, we've got 22. I said there were 24, at least in the preface, cards on the table. The Whispers of Love Oracle, the voices of the higher selves of all involved. Please take a nice deep breath. Mark, put both feet on the floor. Here we go. Higher selves of all involved. Fifth dimension and above. Eighth chakra and above. What is the whisper of love? The piece of information, inspiration, or insight most needed, most helpful for this Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Timeless path of true love read. Doesn't matter if it's a cross watcher watching this or not. The message, the guidance, the grace from the higher selves Please leave that card in my hand. And we are looking at new love. We are looking at new love. Embrace this new opportunity of love that is here. This may pertain to work experiences or spiritual growth. I don't know about the work experiences, although there's some creativity on the table here. This is definitely a new or a renewal. Again, only you're going to know your situation. If you two have danced before, if you were friends, there is a rediscovery of each other here. Possible. And what is it saying? Embrace this new opportunity. Maybe embrace it within yourself first. Right? Maybe really look at this, really feel this out, learn the lesson that you're being given an opportunity to do this in a fair and balanced way. And with the amount of thinking here that we've got in the staff, there's the cross and the staff, certainly looking at something well considered, which makes sense for a hermit, certainly wisdom family archetype, but as well as for that guide. So I'm loving that. New love. Certainly, I think this is about spiritual growth. Path of True Love is all about spiritual growth, the evolution of the soul through the lenses of our relationships and the challenges therein. Last card down, the Healing Mantra deck by Matt Kahn. Please breathe. As I call to the Ascended Masters of True Love, please. What is the perfect healing mantra for this Cancerian collective? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Watching this video, receiving this reading, I just heard both of them might have gotten out of toxic shit. Might have gotten out of toxic, codependent, abusive, neglectful, a lot of loss, a lot of pain going on there, really coming from the storm. And, if this is brand new love they just met, they're not going to be talking about that. But I feel like they can both feel it, particularly the Cancerian. Probably really, really feel that Five of Cups. So what is the perfect healing mantra that either one of them can work on to help them heal on the path of true love in this timeless read? Balancing the brain, I can be and do all at once. I love it. I know all the mantras pretty much at this point. Some grammar maybe off here and there. I can be and do all at once. This is all about balancing not just the hemispheres of the brain. That's certainly indicated there, but about balancing the yin and yang, the interior and the exterior, the masculine and the feminine. It's a neat card to get here. I can be and do all at once. It's all about being mindful, which now makes a lot more sense in that staff. When the brain is balanced, you're no longer bouncing back and forth between being and doing, which does feel like what that hermit might have been dealing with. More into being and now want to go into doing, then going back into being, right? This is about doing both at once. You allow each action to be expressed from a space of mindfulness, peace, and ease. All right, so that right there, I can be and do at once. I can be the truth of who I am. I can be honest. I can be sensitive. I can feel what I'm feeling and take action in a balanced way. In a balanced brain, each inner battle has been won, which makes it easier to navigate around those whose minds are still entrenched in conflict. So it feels like, yeah, the video didn't pause. That was me pausing. So yeah, you've both been through conflict. It feels like more the hermit, honestly, here, because I'm seeing a lot of joy and creativity going on here for the Cancerian. But there needed to be a rebalancing time. And by the way, the Six of Blades is essentially balancing the brain. From this space, you are able to do all that needs to be done while operating from your soul's natural state of being, which is love, which is raw, which is respectful, acknowledging, and welcoming of whatever rises as whatever what comes, but with healthy boundaries. This mantra is ideal for reducing stress at work, right? Because I have to be. How do I be and do at work? Being a more mindful parent. Yeah, I'm not feeling this is a parent-child relationship. And increasing levels of accountability. That is a piece if these two have danced before and there was some lies, illusions, deceptions, and delusions. Because I feel like from the outside, vibing in here for the Cancerian, they know the truth. That Ace of Blades, they at least know the simple form of the truth. It may not be every grit, grain, and detail in here, but they have enough to really come into balance here. A wonderful mantra: I can be and do all at once, right? Instead of running around being operated, let's put it this way, by the shadow program. Good way to say that, right? With this Ace of Cups, being afraid to offer it, but if I offer it, what if, which is very much a mind thing. Well, if the soul is raw, respects, acknowledges, and welcomes, then the ego is at war, W-A-R. It worries, anticipates, and regrets, right? So gets you coming and going there with a lot of fearful thoughts, which would put anybody at storm on the inside. So there is some hesitation, some apprehension here. But at least this says, in the moment, just be mindful, right? I can be and do all at once. I can be the truth of who I am and do the Hermit, right? And go and do things in the world, communicate, do this in a fresh, healthy, balanced way. Let me put it together for you. Ack-a-cack. Please take a nice deep breath. As I call upon my pantheons of the divine, please may the Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading, and their cross-watchers be blessed with all that they need on this timeless path of true love that we all seem to be on. That the Cancerian is able to represent the nature of the divine in life and in themselves, with this Hermit seeking solitude to focus intently on inner life, serving their own personal creativity. The Cancerian, if this is the Cancerian, just lit from within and willing to take the journey, not at a walk, not at a gallop, at a trot, feeling their way through this with that Piscean vibe, empathing their way through it with this Hermit who is putting together the pieces, coming to a mental realization in the only double whammy in this reading with the Ten of Blades. They're getting on the inner what the Cancerian will get on the outer in terms of their destiny, and is willing to take the leap of faith, probably a bit stronger, maybe a bit more pressure, storm pressure, volcanic pressure from being in Hermit mode to just leap and take the leap of faith. And certainly with this Five of Cups storm with the High Priestess, there's perhaps some deep intuitive inner healing going on here, but there doesn't seem to be much sharing of that, and that is certainly appropriate if it's a brand new love. You don't start off date one talking about shadow work unless that's how you met, a workshop or whatnot, right? But certainly coming from a place of deep creativity, this Cancerian, the Leo card, which certainly brought them into that sun. So whatever their creative process was that brought them here, highly worth it. And really with that Ace of Pentacles there, it was an opportunity that they're really, I would say, should be very, very glad that they took, right? That Page of Pentacles yielded them a great of happiness in this present moment, with a willingness to emotionally feel their way through the path of true love towards this Hermit, digging it, and certainly crowning that they are able to clearly come into alignment and manifest this Two of Cups in a happy, healthy, wealthy, wise way. I mean, it's only a 2. It's not a 10. We're not talking marriage here, even though that 4 of Wands is on the table here. But why wouldn't that lead them to confront yet even more shadow within themselves, their own fears, their own insecurities, their own what-ifs, their own regrets, worries and anticipation trying to avoid pain by pre-thinking and jumping way ahead in terms of the offering and the reception of this Ace of Cups. Feels like a lot of fear-based, but also possibly family-based. What if? So of course their lesson would be to balance the brain, to bring themselves into mental harmony here on the inner with this Page of Cups, really reflecting in a loving way. It's okay to think that. That's how this world taught us. That's not our fault. It's not their fault, because they were taught by their people and they were taught by their people, and so on and so on. But maybe the buck stops here, because they are receiving truth, clarity, Sybil, vision, prophecy, at least inspiration, as well as ideas on the inner, and as a result are setting up camp, right? Are stable, have at least what they need and a good chunk of what they want by their own choices and decisions, while inside probably busting through all sorts of self-delusions, deceptions, illusions that are written into the script from our families before we ever step into a body in this lifetime, as well as any other. right? And with that 10 of blades, rather than seeing it as another betrayal, really seeing the completion, putting together all of the mental pieces of the puzzle. There's an awful lot of thinking going on here. So some mental resolution there, not being stabbed in the back, but some real clarity there. Oh, I guess we'd call that an aha moment. Thank you, Oprah, wherever you are. Did she come up with aha moment? I don't know if she did. Let's say that she did, because I don't want her coming for me if I'm wrong. And ending with the Pele, the volcano on the inner with the Wheel of Fortune on the outer, that this thing's time has come. And the truth is going to come out. And it feels like the passion's going to come out. And it feels like these two, particularly with that Ace of Cups, if they're both sharing that crowning card, that they really want this. They at least want this in their life. Whether or not they know each other yet, we do not know, because this is a general read. A new love, that they are to embrace this new opportunity of love that is here. This may pertain to work opportunities or spiritual growth, but we think we know it's about spiritual growth, at least for the guide, and definitely a new love in some way, shape, or form. So what do? They balance the brain, because they can be and do all at once, and as they do, they heal. They free themselves from the limiting beliefs of the past, acting while being mindful, being clear, being now, focusing on the breath, taking the journey slowly. Not the runner, not the chaser, but the walkers, just walking this. Karen and Stanley Walker, honey, just walking the path of true love, seeing how it goes, facing their fears, clarifying their vision, their perception into vision together for their well-being and for the well-being of all. As a matter of fact, may true love conquer all for the well-being of all and with harm to none, as we will it. So let it be done. So would it be. And so it is. I have to say, I love doing these readings, but they've all been tricky at the end so far, right? No one's been like, yeah, you're happily ever after. Because then there's the next day, ain't there, right? Just meeting them is just part of the journey. It's what do you do now? Well, you can be and do all at once, my crab cake. So have at it. And if you want to book me for a private reading, there's a video explaining it, so I don't have to say it every time. Check out my book, Words of Grace. The heart chakra chapter, the third eye chapter, and the throat chakra chapter would be particularly helpful. If you've already gotten the book, you might want to look at some of the prayers in there. Otherwise, relatively good reading. Tricky, got a couple of fives here that will pass, right? They're minor arcana. There's no tower, there's no death card here, not that there's anything wrong with them. Part of the process. But I would certainly be as honest as you can, right? And take this opportunity of new love. Even if you don't get what you want, be assured we all get what we need on the path of true love, whether we like it or not. So wishing you all the very best. And the very blessed of the path of true love, my beloved crab cakes. Hail, farewell, and blessed be.